Yes, I have seen the Erika Kirk dress like a bouncer video. I have questions too, but we're going to table the wardrobe conversation because something way weirder is happening. And it includes Erika Kirk comparing herself to Jesus and Easter Sunday, because why not? Erika Kirk really did that, yes. And there's video, and it shows Erika Kirk's secret sermon that nobody was meant to see or look too closely at. It's a new low. It's a rock bottom. And the floor is already wherever Katie and Stephen Miller are in this moment. But while all this is going down with Erika Kirk dressed like Eminem, there is a secret sermon. She sent this secret sermon into a room she never even walked into. And nobody has looked closely enough until today. And listen, if you've been here for a minute, I've called Turning Point USA a megachurch for a long time. But now it's slipping so much further than that. And we have seen this exact transition before. What is happening right now is a deliberate transformation. And you might have seen this before too. If you were around in the 70s or 80s, or if you're chronically online and deep in cult docuseries and Reddit rabbit holes, my people, you already know. You have an idea. You might know what I'm about to show you. We are watching a total metamorphosis in real time. One of the most prominent figures in conservative media is mirroring play by play one of the most infamous religious spectacles in American history. The new Erika Kirk, what we're seeing right now, while y'all are all distracted, while the whole internet is distracted by whatever just happened with her in her all black bouncer outfit.
If you strip someone of their humanity long enough, you will arrive at the chilling conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all.
The new Erika Kirk looks exactly like a ghost from the 1980s. And for my OGs, this is a long time deep dive request, cracked open by this new video that just came out. And if you know, you know. And if you're new here, give me 10 minutes. And I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra, my daughter, my dog, my co-host, is somewhere on the couch behind me, sick of mama's shit because I've had to re-record this episode 4 times now. But we run this entire operation solo. Every single day, we show up to do this out of pure principle and out of an absolute refusal to let Katie Miller catch up. We are not slowing down. We are closing in on 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, 100,000 followers on Facebook, and we are not slowing down. Every sub, every follow across social media, every comment, 6 words or more, every 5-star rating, wherever you get your podcast, I see and I hear all of it. And I've been told it gives you 10 years of protection from Stephen Miller nesting in your crawl space. He doesn't pay rent and he smells like mothballs. The choice is yours. Okay. Now, Turning Point USA is running something called the Make Heaven Crowded Tour. Erika Kirk's name is all over it. She is the draw. On Wednesday night, it was supposed to go down at Prestonwood Baptist Church in Plano. This is one of the largest mega churches in the country. There are thousands of seats in this mega church. And instead of getting their little headliner and pyrotechnics, they got a pre-recorded video instead. This is not the first time. At the University of Georgia, JD Vance showed up to a Turning Point USA event and filled maybe a quarter of the arena at best. They were using old footage in their B-roll to make it look like some sort of hyped up thing, but you could hear a pin drop. And of course, Erika Kirk was supposed to be there and she didn't show up. And Turning Point USA said they tried to cover her back. They said, oh, there were serious security threats. A Secret Service source told reporters that there were no credible threats tied to the event or to the venue. It kind of reminds me of that Office episode where Toby doesn't want to show up to work and says he has a stomachache because he doesn't want to talk to Michael Scott. Seems a similar pattern here. So Iowa State then got canceled next. There was a scheduling conflict. They said we had a little scheduling oopsie, and an insider said that they didn't think enough people were coming. So now at this point, we have 3 events where she's no-showed and we're getting a different excuse every time. And each time, instead of, fill in those spots with the replacement speaker, they get a pre-recorded video of Erika Kirk. And the thing about pre-recorded videos are you can really control them. You can really edit them, and they make it very impossible, very difficult to ask any questions. So this week, that video contained something I was not expecting and I almost missed.
The context of that really put it into perspective.
And today's episode is brought to you by Cozy Earth. I do everything from home. I research, I write, I edit, I record, I check the ceiling to make sure Stephen Miller is not scurrying across it. And at some point, I realized the outfit I was doing all of that in deserved to be better. So Cozy Earth makes jogger sets that are made from viscose and bamboo. And I cannot explain the softness, except I have to say I've reached for mine every single day since it arrived. It makes me feel put together enough that I don't feel like a person who gave up, but it's also comfortable enough that I never want to take it off. I wear it morning, I wear it night, I wear it for errands, filming on the couch, taking Willa for a spin, the list goes on. And they have some clogs, which are perfect for dog walking. They're cushioned, supportive, slip on. I have worn them to the mailbox. I've worn them to take Willa potty town more times than I will admit publicly on here. And, everything comes with an 100-night trial and a 10-year warranty. So head on over to cozyearth.com and use my code Lauren, that's Loren, for 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, tell them you heard about it right here on LPTV. So here's where the signs start really showing up very overtly. So instead of apologizing, Erika Kirk showed up and gave everyone a sermon about resilience and suffering and what it means to keep going when the world looks like it has ended. And then that's when she compared her situation to Easter Sunday. Her words were, God doesn't write stories that end in the tomb.
These past several months, I've felt like I'm living in that Saturday faith, moments where I feel like I'm standing at the sealed tomb, just weeping. I still believe in the promises that are alive inside of it. And I've come to realize that Saturday faith is the middle of the story. That's how I feel. Easter Saturday to the world looked like the end, but God doesn't write stories that end in a tomb.
She is, let me remind you, the CEO of an $85 million nonprofit that is losing donors, canceling tour stops left and right, and watching campus chapters disband. We have a 60-part playlist of episodes on this. And so she's really reaching for some metaphors here, especially as she's pre-recording videos and sending them to a room that she couldn't dare answer, all the while talking about the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And okay, so for folks like yours truly who might need a refresher on what Easter Saturday is, it's the day that everything looks lost. So that's when the crucifixion happened, the tomb was sealed, and the followers of Jesus scattered. So this is the chapter she's telling her audience she's currently in, which means she is also telling them what she believes is going to come next and who she believes she is in this whole thing. And that framing, she's like not really, I don't think, making references to Charlie here. I think she's making references to people attacking her character and asking questions. I think she's recontextualizing that as evidence of divine purpose. My assumption of her kind of framework here is that she's saying, I'm suffering. This isn't failure. This is my prophecy. Me, Erika Kirk, Christ. So it's a very interesting kind of theology that she's reaching for while her organization is structurally falling apart. And it's also a deeply familiar one. So here's where we get to the part that you've all been asking for. Erika Kirk has a lot of parallels to a gal named Tammy Faye Baker. Tammy Faye Baker and her husband Jim built PTL Ministries into one of the most powerful televangelism operations in American history. They had a satellite network reaching tens of millions of homes weekly, hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through a tax-exempt organization with limited financial oversight and a donor base that was deeply, personally loyal to the man and the woman on the screen. Mostly the man on the screen, though, until he got taken down for shenanigans. So Tammy Faye Baker then stepped into the spotlight and became woman on the screen. Tammy Faye was the product. And when PTL collapsed, there were fraud charges, prison sentence, and a scandal that ran on for years. And what did she do? She leaned in. She got more emotional on camera and more publicly faithful. She cried on television, something that Erika Kirk is still very much working at. And she made millions of people feel personally responsible for whether she was going to be all right. That's a skill. And with Erika Kirk, it seems like she is really capitalizing on everyone who really loved Charlie and feel like they want to keep his mission carrying on. And she's capitalizing on that with merch, with sales, with things that are tax exempt and making her richer. So there's a lot of structural parallels here. There's a lot of physical parallels beyond, the obvious, but televangelism at its peak reached 20 to 30 million weekly viewers. Joel Osteen still pulls around 10 million globally every week. Turning Point USA now reports billions of annual video views. Large televangelist ministries operated on $50 to $100 million annually. Turning Point USA's most recent IRS filings put their revenue at over $85 million a year. Both grew through broadcast and digital distribution. They were more than just physical institutions. They had all these different offerings. You see where we're going with this? And both do this thing where they take identity and they try to tap into our tribal human being, our tribal nature, and bring these people together into affiliation. So that way they feel like they identify as part of the tribe, and they take that affiliation, they take that tribalness and turn it into votes and donations. And that authority comes from this like kind of pyramid scheme type of institutional hierarchy. And again, at the root of it all, it comes from audiences who feel personally invested in whether these people survive. They feel personally invested. So it's a much more intensified parasocial relationship when you're wrapping it all up in faith in Jesus and the Lord and whatever. And it just so happens to be worth billions, and it just so happens to be tax exempt. What do you say? And, you know, these people, they seem to really, really know how to maintain it. That is a grift if I've ever seen one. And Erika Kirk every day is figuring out right now that the most powerful thing in her orbit, I think some may say she knew this since day one, the most powerful thing in her orbit is the people who have never met her but feel like Charlie's survival, his memory's survival is all kind of falling on Erika Kirk, and that is their personal responsibility. That's why she's asking for the money, the tour, the book, the merch, the megachurch, whirlwind, everything. And this is why she's using resurrection framing. It's Tammy Faye Baker's playbook. It's Tammy Faye Baker 2.0. And at her peak, Tammy Faye Baker was not selling religion. Tammy Faye Baker was selling Tammy Faye Baker. Again, the ministry was a tax-exempt vehicle for this woman who knew exactly how to cry on camera. It's the OG, it's the original grift, and it worked until the gap between her performance and the actual bank accounts got too big for any sort of Bible verses to fix. Erika Kirk is running it back. And her biggest donor is now gone. Chapters are folding across the country. We've been covering it. Make sure you check out previous episodes. And Erika Kirk is now headlining a tour by phoning it in with pre-recorded videos and invoking the resurrection on Twitter. We know that donors are reading the IRS filings, and these empty chairs and these empty auditoriums do not lie. This is exactly why we need to start taxing these ministries. This is exactly why we need to start paying attention. This is exactly why we need to kind of share these messages and this video and this podcast, because when these people are pulling in $80 million a year to run a media empire, that is a grift if I've ever seen one. And again, I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra is not going to scratch her eye or she's going to get back in a cone. She's on cone break right now, but I have to monitor her very carefully. Follow us wherever you get your podcast. Comment 6 words or more every action. Remember, it's a field force between you and Stephen Miller deciding he's going to come out of your drain at any moment. So do the right thing. Let us know what you want to talk more about next. Let us know what you think. I want to hear from you. Drop us a comment.